Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday morning. It's hump day. We're getting towards the end of the week, almost there. But good news is that we're not really seeing a lot of rain like we saw over the last few days, especially in the mornings. Russell will talk a little bit about what we're going to be seeing throughout the day today, but it looks like overall we're going to be seeing some pretty overcast skies out there. And hopefully a few breaks in the clouds to get that sunshine back in ENC. That would be really nice, especially that'll set us up for the weekend. Russell will talk about that in just a moment. But before we get into all of the weather details of the day, we do have a story out of Atlantic Beach, the Oceana Pier, which is where a lot of people like to fish. It's still closed after it would experience some minor damage due to Hurricane Erin a few weeks back. We're just looking to see when that will reopen after repairs are done. We didn't hear from the town manager on a specific timeline of when that'll reopen again, but we did speak to some fishermen who actually were out hoping to fish on the pier yesterday, especially with this big fishing season going on. People were not the happiest hearing that they weren't able to fish on the pier, so we do have that story right now.
The Oceana Pier in Atlantic Beach is still closed in the aftermath of Hurricane Erin, leaving some making the trip from the mountains with gear on standby upset when they arrived.
We planned our trip within hopes that it would be fixed, and like I said, they pushed it back, and I don't think it's going to be fixed this week. We're down the whole week, but like I said, it's not looking promising.
Even though Hurricane Erin didn't make landfall in August, the rough waves caused a minor damage to the end of the pier. But it's not cutting the line for everyone who has to fish along the surf.
I usually have the same luck either way. But you got to cast a little further out here.
But for some, it is.
We came down just to specifically fish off the pier. It's a little bit easier. Fishing off the surf is harder to get your stuff out here.
I spoke with the general manager about when the pier will be back open and was told no comment at this time. But for fisherman Richard Warden, he says fishing on the pier or on the surf doesn't matter to him.
But I understand hurricane damage, contractors are full up with work everywhere probably. And it's understandable. But I like surf fishing, so I'm good right next to the pier surf fishing.
Yeah, so I can imagine it can be disappointing getting all your fishing gear ready to go, heading down to Atlantic Beach looking to do some fishing and seeing that you can't fish from the pier. Can be a pretty frustrating thing.
That's one thing I can say about Eastern North Carolina. We take our fishing very seriously, not just here, but just pretty much up and down the East Coast. And hopefully the fishing pier will basically open up again very soon. That way everybody can kind of get back to the hustle and bustle of what they're used to.
Right, and I know that it sustained some minor damage, so hopefully since it didn't get too much of the brunt of Hurricane Erin's impacts, hopefully sooner rather than later. But of course, we'll keep you updated. We'll be staying in touch with city leaders and town officials just to make sure that you guys are all up to date when that finally reopens again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And speaking of fishing, today is a great day to go fishing for the most part, especially along parts of the coast and even for areas further inland as well. I've always wanted to do like a sort of like an inland river like fishing type of forecast as well, giving me some ideas for the most part. I'll have more details on that. I'm saying more ideas for some reason, but I have more details on that coming up in just a moment. But I do want to touch base on what's happening currently in the tropics with Tropical Depression 7 in the Atlantic Basin. We're seeing winds of 35 miles an hour, gusts up to 45 miles per hour. It's moving west at 13 currently, and overall the system is forecast to at least attain tropical storm status later today. Next name is Gabrielle, so soon to be Gabrielle is likely to form as we go into Thursday and Friday. And then eventually from there, one of the outstanding questions is how quickly does it make that turn towards the north and the east? Right now, the forecast has it going towards a Cat 1, becoming a 75-mile-an-hour storm, and then up to 85 miles per hour as we head into late Sunday, early Monday. As we take a look out the door, at least for today, temperatures will be into the 60s and low 70s by around 3 to 4 o'clock. High-risk rip currents for the Outer Banks, low risk of rip currents, or low tide rather, around 10 a.m. for the Outer Banks and Crystal Coast. For anybody that is eager to go outside and fish, at least the winds are not going to be quite as bad as it was the past few days, but then we'll see some gradual improvements as we look ahead over the next several days. First alert live radar, nice and quiet compared to some light rain ongoing across sections of Virginia and down towards Delmarva. And there's also some light drizzle and mist being reported across parts of our area, even here in Pitt County. So the drizzle shouldn't be too much of an issue for your morning commute, but eventually we're going to embrace high pressure coming in from the north and west. That's going to allow temperatures to heat up over the next several days, especially going into Saturday and also into your Sunday. So temperatures going from the 60s and 70s into Thursday up to about 81 degrees on Thursday afternoon. And then heading into Friday, notice how temperatures really skyrocket to 85 in Greenville, 84 Jacksonville, even areas across the state getting as high as 87 degrees for Raleigh-Durham. So for those of you that are thinking about maybe doing some nice traveling over the weekend, it should be nice and hot across several backyards. We'll reintroduce a chance of showers going into Sunday and Monday. High temperatures around 78 degrees. Overnight lows 50s and low to middle 60s. So, you know, Gigi, this is some nice weather. And I know we were talking about food early. We always talk about food every time I'm filling in for the morning show. And I definitely want to try this. It's a cucumber salad. You add a little bit of red onion to it. You add a little bit of sour cream, slight bit of mayo, add some ranch seasoning to it, add a little bit of dill, and just toss it up very good. And it goes very well with some chicken, like rotisserie chicken or like roasted chicken for the most part.
It sounds really refreshing having those cucumbers in there and then also having a little bit of sour cream. It does remind me a little bit of summer, and I know right now things are still feeling kind of like fall, but pretty soon, the next few days, we're going to be seeing yet again those summer-like temperatures, but without the oppressive humidity that we usually see during the summertime.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. You know, normally when we talk about a lot of humidity, it's pretty, you know, intense. It's in your face.
Right.
Like as soon as you walk out the door, it's like wham, it just hits you. This time around, it's going to be like, you know, hey, it's feeling warm outside, but you might feel a notice uptick there from time to time. So again, this is not something where over the weekend you should have to worry about, you know, it being excessively hot. Though something to mention is the mosquitoes are going to be out and about. It seems like they're always out this time of year. So
you may want to stay away from any kind of like puddles of water or anything, because those things, they just come right at you.
They just love being around people this time of year. And I've noticed that even during the winter season, they're out too. A couple years ago, it was like 32 degrees one morning, and I went outside to go walk my dog, and I noticed that. I was like, mosquitoes are out.
That's shocking. 30-something degrees outside.
30-something degrees, and they're still out. You'd be surprised.
All right, well, that's not the reason why I moved to eastern North Carolina. It was more so these temperatures where we're talking about fall-like weather, and it's 70 degrees outside, which is wonderful. I know yesterday when we were on air talking, yesterday's highs got up to a temperature that we normally see in November.
Right.
Today we're also seeing some temperatures. We're not really getting some big jumps. In the morning we're feeling the 60s, and we're really only getting up to the 70s.
You're absolutely right. The fact that we were seeing temperatures up to like 68, 69, close to 70, we don't usually see that until late October, early November. So we've seen an unusual stretch of weather over the past several days, but one thing's for certain is I got to enjoy it, because I don't know the next time we'll have at least a September this comfortable. Normally we're talking about 80s and 90s for the most part.
Right. I'm just going to pull up this 8-day forecast again for anyone who's just joining us this morning. Good morning. Yet again, I know over the last few days we've been seeing some gloomy mornings, seeing a little bit of rain. Today we're going to be seeing those overcast skies, but no rain.
No rain, just a little bit, maybe a little bit of mist trying to sneak in there from time to time. You know, those little pesky little raindrops try to hit you, but we're going to, you know, trade off the showers. We're going to bring in the sunshine. I mean, look at this, 80-degree temperatures over the next several days, 87 on Friday. Gigi, what is going on with Mother Nature? She is spoiling us with the nice weather. And then we're going to hold on to the sunshine there going into the weekend. And then notice there Sunday and Monday, we crank up those rain chances across the area. So it looks like, you know, just typical, you know, East Carolina weather. Weather changes every 15 minutes.
Fake summer.
You know,
gotta love them.
the winter trying to sneak in there.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's always something different over here, but it's really nice to see that the sun is going to be coming out again, just in time for the weekend. I know we've got a lot of really awesome festivities. We have an ECU game this weekend.
Also,
at
Pitt
home.
County Fair has started
the Pitt
too.
County Fair opened yesterday, so be sure to check that out too, especially now that the weather is going to be really nice over the next few days. Awesome.
And Gigi, I have to pick your brain on something.
Okay.
Would you enjoy this weather or lake effect snow? Now think about it. We're from the Midwest. I would take this weather anytime
any day.
over lake effect.
Oh,
we were talking about this some months back, and she was like, you know, because it was when we had the snow here in eastern North Carolina. He was like, it kind of reminded you of lake effect, and I was like, no way.
Yeah, no. When I remember, I covered the ice storm that happened over this winter, and it's nothing like the lake effect stuff because the snow just piles down in Chicago. Here you get the ice.
Yeah.
I've never experienced having to, like, I was literally iced out of my car. I had to like pick and like
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be
use a
laughing.
chisel or something. No, but it's just something that I had never experienced because we're so used to the snow piling up instead of the ice kind of packing on.
Right.
So good thing we're not in that territory right now, and fingers crossed that doesn't have to happen again here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for snow this year, but not like the heavy, wet, like compact stuff that you know that we're used to seeing. But yeah, up north, it's more the powdery snow. You can just kind of sweep off your car, just shovel, you know, to the side. But yeah, I just had to like ask you that question.
Yeah, and the other thing that we were talking about on air today as well are the winds, how gusty it was yesterday. I know I mentioned yesterday I tried to go out for a run, and I was just getting like slapped in the face with this wind. I felt like I was going to go sideways. It reminded me of when I went to school in Boston. There were a lot of days where that wind was just so
especially when you're
face.
getting like those nor'easters, and this is what that coastal kind of reminded me of a little bit. Was just like the wind just hits you out the door, and I was just like, you know, I'm a small guy. I can't afford to deal with 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. That's why I'm not in hurricanes. If you try to put me out in a hurricane, I have to tie myself down to like, you know, something important because I'll end up blowing around somewhere. But anyways, I'm not going to go too much in detail.
All right, well, we'll pull up the forecast one more time for anyone who's joining us again.
Oh,
before
Bob
we
Dahl
hop
also
off.
mentioned all of these big winds have kept the boats on the lifts. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, looking at that forecast again, things are looking up for this weekend, which I'm loving to see.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. 86, that's not bad. Perfect tailgating weather for those of you going to the BYU ECU football game. And by the way, kickoff will be at 7:30, and then of course we'll watch for some showers, and we'll have more details on your weather coming up later on. But at least for now, Gigi, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, things are all good to go. Well, we'll be back again at 8 o'clock for another news and weather update. Hope you can join us then. But overall, just have a really wonderful Wednesday. Enjoy.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by Toyota of Goldsboro.